Welcome to Film Freaks. This is Justin Llewellyn,
And Eddie Williams.
and tonight we're going to be doing another audio review of a film that we've actually been anticipated, but at the same time, kind of a little on the fence about. And that's a film that was actually in that's actually they got a limited release when it came out, and unfortunately didn't reach our area. So we had to basically wait until it came out later, which was Three from Hell, which is written and directed by Rob Zombie, and this is the follow-up to his other previous movies he did, to House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. And once again, it features the trio that from the other three movies: Sharon Moon Zombie, his wife, Sid Haig, and Bill Moseley, and newcomer Richard Brake coming in to also play a new character. And
Which, by the way, he starred in 31 and Halloween 2.
Yeah, he was the Doomhead from 31, and and in this film, it deals with years after the events of the Devil's Rejects, where this is not really a spoiler because it's pretty much established. They survived from the events of the Devil's Rejects, and now all three of the killers are now on death row in prison. And not to go into too much detail, but basically, as you see in the trailer, their shit. They go on their killing spree like they do in the other films.
Yeah, after breaking out.
Yeah, so we'll kind of leave it at there because we'll try to avoid spoilers. But anyway, here's a little backstory. Now, this is now the third film in the other Firefly family trilogy that Rob Zombie first did, which started out with his 2003 film called House of Thousand Corpses, which was his first movie. And I'll admit, that was a movie that I actually didn't see until it hit video. And I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't really care too much for it.
I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. It was very unoriginal. By the way, we're going to do retro separate video, so we're not going to go in much detail on both films. But I remember having some fun out of it. It is unoriginal. I'll give that, and it can be kind of weird because it's like a mix of, because he had a big influence with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so it's kind of like that kind of stolen from there, minusing really the cannibal part, and mixed with a totally different part where it turns monstrous, like with Dr. Satan.
Yeah.
But I actually thought it was pretty good.
Well, I mean, I admit the very first time I watched it, I didn't really care too much for it, other than the fact that it was gory and stuff. And then as the years kind of went by, I started to grow a little bit more liking to it, as kind of giving it credit for Rob Zombie's first picture, and it felt like it felt like it was more of like watching pretty much a music video, like his old stuff.
That's why I like about it, because I was a big Rod. I grew up in the '90s with White Zombie, Rod Zombie, so I get into the music, and him is his director debut. He did his own music video, so it was kind of neat to see that he's more of a grindhouse '70s fan. So I was really influenced by that. So I enjoyed House Thousand Corpses, but it's nowhere near on Devil's Rejects level. Devil's Rejects to me was his prime, and this is where people start thinking, Zombie might actually have a fucking good movie career as a filmmaker.
Yeah, because Devil's Rejects, that was a film that, even though it's a sequel to The House of Thousand Corpses, it still stands good on its own, and it actually felt like a really unique twist on the whole on-the-road type of genre that we had from the 70s movies.
Yeah.
And I loved Devil's Rejects so much that I consider that Zombie's magnum opus. And ever since I saw Devil's Rejects, I felt like that was a film that, to me, was so perfect the way it pretty much ended. There really was no point on making another one.
Exactly. There was no point, but everybody who in Hollywood, and it's been big time this year, they're bringing sequels back from movies that happened years ago. And here we go with Three from Hell, where he finally got to. Apparently it was something that's been on his mind for a very long time, and he didn't know if he was going to ever go about it, because you remember he started getting into more other films, other little original projects, and then he started actually wanting to be rebooting shit like he did with Halloween.
Yeah, and there were rumors for a long time that he wanted to pretty much kind of do a prequel to the original film, to House of Thousand Corpses, which
that was the first idea. Yes.
Yeah, I was kind of on more with that approach, but my only big problem was that he was going to still have his same cast involved, and I was like, that's going to be kind of off because it's been way too fucking long.
Exactly, and that's going to be something I'm going to discuss in this film. But anyways, going back to three from hell, yeah, like he said, it was pretty mixed bag for both of us. How how he's going to do it. And before I get into the review of it, start what really killed the mood for it, or for one, you're like, damn, Devil's Rejects was a perfect ending, and then you get to this and you're like, it's a great idea. But then what really hurts is when we found out this year that Sid was terminally ill, and he decided that he would only do a cameo because he informed Rod Zombie he's dying, and unfortunately he passed away not just recently. So rest in peace to Sid Haig, Captain Spaulding, man, that's the face of the franchise. As much as I love Otis and Baby, that's the face of the franchise, and it is
Yeah,
because Captain Spaulding, the only character in the entire franchise, is a household name.
yeah,
So
and pretty much he was pretty much the hallmark that I enjoyed most with both movies because even though yeah, and so yeah, you can tell that there was a lot worry going into it because even from the trailers you can kind of get this feeling like Sid's in really poor health and it really showed.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. So after giving it a watch, I will say that this was okay. It was, in my opinion, it was not needed, and kind of felt disappointed.
yeah, I felt like going into it, it's about what I expected. It's nothing more or less, nothing more or more of it. It's really
I
just
will
one of
say
those movies
this
that
honestly, I find this to be the weakest of the trilogy.
I kind of do too, because even though I still have problems with House Thousand Corpses, I felt like at least with that film, there was still more merit with it. But on the
Inter-
same side, there are still some things that I appreciated this one tried to do, but it's still 50-50. But with
yeah,
that being said, to go into my pros, I will say once again, it's always great to see his cast back, especially, his wife. And I know that Sherry Moon has always got a lot of criticized for being the face in all of his films, but given for what it is, I mean, she is still that iconic as that character, and I
you
always love
all
her.
right? Yeah, exactly. I can see the complaints with her being in Halloween and some of the other stuff he's done, but honestly, if there's one film we can all give her at least, is she is part of the Firefly family. She plays Baby perfectly. Wouldn't have it either other way.
Yeah, and
Otis,
it's
her brother, Otis, played by Bill Moseley. What can I say? That dude could be in a shit movie and he'd still be the highlight.
yeah, he was
I
the
can't get
highlight of
enough.
Texas
Yeah,
3D.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a highlight. Even in this one movie that's called The Boulder Killers or Killer Tomatoes, wherever the fuck it was called. This weird movie came out. It was like sci-fi. Yeah, apparently he was the highlight in that, despite the movie being very bad. But
Yeah,
anyways, yeah, he was great as Otis, and he's got the look. I enjoyed that, and um, I'm 50-50 on the other guy who played Doomsday. What's his name? The actor?
Richard Brake.
Yeah, Richard Brake. I do love the guy's performance. I thought he was great. He's a part of the Firefly family, which is a good addition. But there's also a con with this character. I had two couple cons I do have, but his performance was great. And him and Otis and how they like go back and forth and bitch at each other and talk shit to each other. It was downplayed a little bit more, but there were parts where they do that. I actually found that kind of funny.
Yeah, I did too.
I felt
And
like that was a wasted opportunity that Zombie was not trying to focus on too much, and I thought it was a missed opportunity because there are parts that them two like banter back and forth, and it's funny. I'm like, man, why could you not do more of that?
yeah, and there are certain and that's what I'm saying, and you can tell that a lot of his dialogue that he was given was pretty much wanting to do it for Sid, but because, like we said earlier, because Sid have health issues, unfortunately, Rob had to rewrite a lot of Sid's scenes
Yeah,
with Richard's character.
yeah.
It's
Richard's character
understandable.
is not even supposed to be in the film. That was actually, of course, supposed to be. That was supposed to be Captain Spaulding in the whole film.
But it
Like
was
you just
rewritten
said,
for his character.
he yeah he started falling ill, he said, "Hey, Rob, I'm dying. I
Yeah,
can't do it."
but given for what he's given for the little time that he's on screen, it is still great to see Sig play Spaulding one last time,
I
and
will
he
say it was
really.
disappointing, even though, of course, he's in prison. There's no way. I wish we could have gotten something with him with the iconic makeup on.
I know it would have been cool. It would have been cool just one more time. But given for the little time that he is on screen, though, he still did his absolute best, and for what he was given.
Oh yeah, you and just like Rod Zombie said, you can actually tell in the scenes he looked like he was in a lot of pain. So
Yeah,
give the man a hand for trying his best, and he did good compared to some characters. But it was also nice to see some little iconic characters having cameos in this, like D Wallace.
yeah,
She was in this, and the dude from The People Under the Stairs was in this as that little guy with the Mexican outfit on.
yeah. That's that one dude, and
I forgot his name, the actor. But
uh, yeah, I remember. And
yeah,
then you got
Tommy got a couple people in this film that did cameos, and he also brought back what's his name? Damn,
uh,
I can't speak
Danny
tonight.
Trejo.
Danny Trejo, which you guys remember, he was in Devil's Rejects, and he was the one that plotted against the Firefly family.
Yeah, he's back in this, and then
Which he
uh,
played. He has. There's a little plot detail that brings a villain into it, and you'll find out. I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah.
yeah, and then you also got there's some other stuff too that I enjoyed. Like I still enjoyed the fact that Zombie was also trying to keep the same kind of tone like like Rejects did,
Devil's
but
Rejects,
with
yes.
the whole like on the road kind of killing spree that he did in the other films. And I also enjoyed the brutality, though it's not as brutal as some of the other two movies were. It's
Yeah.
still when it shows it, it does have some pretty good fucking gore.
Yeah, there are some like really notable points to like the old films, like with skinning alive somebody and stuff. Those parts were good. There are some parts where I did have problems with CGI, and I'll get to that later. But like it goes back to some of the old ways. But unfortunately, the film underplayed it compared to the other two.
Right, and I also got to appreciate that there's also not going to spoil anything, but toward the end when it gets to its third act, I do also like the whole Western feel that old school Western feel that Rob Zombie was trying to go for, like an old Sergio Leone man with the good, the bad, and the ugly type of vibe at the end of it.
Yes, I get where it was going to on that one, and I'll get to more cons later. I do give the whole Western like, and it still feels like Devil's Rejects, and I also really uh, but yeah,
And it still also had the some of the funny humor that comes in every now and then, where they're always giving each other shit all the time,
yeah,
and
brothers and
you know,
sisters, yeah. I mean, it has its tones at times, and uh, yeah, what can I say? There's really, it's shot kind of like Devil's Rejects and House Thousand Corpses, but I felt like it was a little too low budget, a little bit too, like it needed a little bit more money, but it's
yeah,
still there. Yeah.
yeah. But now this is pretty much where we get to our cons, and now, like we were saying earlier, this is a film that, to me, while the novelty is still good, seeing these characters back, much like in a lot of movies that rely on nostalgia, I still felt like the movie's overall story, it didn't really have much of a purpose, so to speak.
Yeah. This film right here, the whole purpose, the plot, and everything, really just I don't know what you can see Rod Zombie struggling really bad to. I mean, you can just tell by the film the way it's going on. You're like, he struggled to write an actual coherent story. He didn't know how to bring him back. You see that very vividly in the story because really, not only is this movie add nothing new to the franchise to even deserve the comeback, it's hard for me to accept this movie without Spaulding. I'm sorry, Spaulding is a household name. Not seeing him in this film, it hurts. It hurts the film. I'm
It
sorry.
does, and it felt
Yeah.
because even given for what it is, he was pretty much what brought the other like he was pretty much the main focal point that I enjoyed the most about the other two films, and his absence is strongly noticeable here. And I think
It
that
hurts the film. It
yeah,
does. And another thing, like the film doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. Like
it
it's
doesn't.
just like it's more of a you watch them trying to break out for pretty much like half of the movie, and then basically it's like they're both wondering what the fuck do we do next. And really, that's what it is. What are you guys doing? You have no plan, and it's almost like reminiscent of the whole plot. It's like this movie had no fucking plan. What are they doing? Why do we bring the Firefly family back? What's so big that is
Yeah.
so epic? And it doesn't lead to anything epic. It's like, okay, film ain't going nowhere and never does, other than
Yeah.
it creates a standard fucking villain, which I get why they built the villain, which is okay, but I'm just not into it. I'm really
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, and not to mention, there's also certain loose ends that I kind of figured that they would probably have a better opportunity for to kind of bring in. And this more factors into some stuff that we got in our last film and also the movie before this. Now, I won't spoil what it is, but let's just say that it probably would have been a better opportunity to do it on that level if you're going to continue this franchise.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're going
But
to.
another thing I have a problem with was I said I loved his performance, Richard. Right. He did really good. However, him being actual like he's the brother of them and he's a Firefly. We were introduced to pretty much the whole Firefly family in the last two movies. And that's kind of a continuity issue that you just say it says boom, the brother of Otis and baby. I'm like, what the fuck? You just brought another fucking dude, another and he's part of the family. And in
Yeah.
two, really I mean, you don't go into any of his backstory because he's called the Night Wolf or some shit. And I'm like, I
Or, yeah,
don't. I,
the
yeah, it doesn't go into any backstory with him. I think that if they would have found this guy earlier and he was in like maybe at least at the minimum the last movie, he would have been there'd be more merit to his character. You can tell he's a big time stand-in for Captain Spaulding. You can tell. You can tell he's like written in there, and that's the problem with this film.
Yeah, and well, and it also doesn't help too that my biggest problem as well is that kind of really noticing it. It really just this plot line. It really just rehashes a lot of stuff from the last film and the movie
Yeah.
before that.
Even
There's
the
a lot.
the game warden dude is like the softer reminiscence of the fucking sheriff in the other two movies. The
Exactly.
dickhead sheriff, especially the last movie.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
that's
there's
all
a lot
he
of
is.
rinse and
It's like a
repeat.
copycat.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of
Yeah.
rinse and repeat stuff that we pretty much already got from the other two films. So they don't really bring in much like surprises in this one, like they did with the other film.
Yeah, and not only that, man, like I said, the villains, going back to the villains in the last standoff, while I get where you're going with the whole Western look, I get that, but really, there's a lot of stupid fucking choices people were making. Like when Baby kind of snuck off, no one noticed she snuck off. People were making dumb mistakes in this movie,
Yeah,
and that
they
was
were.
kind of a fucking turn off. It's
Yeah,
like I'm just I'm not getting what Zombie was doing with this,
yeah,
and you can
because
tell this movie should never been made. I think when Sid was dying, this should have been scrapped. And
yeah,
you know what they need to do? He wants something original. Go do fucking Dr. Satan. Give us some movies
that's
of that.
that's what I'm saying. Like I really think that because I feel like Zombie does have talent as a director, and he's proven it with a lot of his with some of his movies. I
Yeah.
just feel like if he wanted to do something more that's a little farther away from kind of Devil's Rejects or like this series, I think he could probably do something that's more like I don't know. He could probably find on getting due to that fake trailer he did from Grindhouse. If he did a movie like that werewolf fake trailer he
Yeah,
did.
he would have done the werewolf thing, or maybe give us some. If you want to be like bring back the world of the Fireflies, give us fucking Doctor Satan movies.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what I'm saying.
cops never found him and found his little lair. Could do shit with that, man, and then go back to the old property again. I did not buy that the Firefly family, which another issue I have, doesn't even look like they were even ever fucking shot. because
Yeah, them
if you
surviving, I
remember, George
felt was a
is shot like 100 fucking times, and while they go through this montage that they all are recuperating, they're miraculously survived. Felt that was lazy. That was pretty
yeah,
lazy writing because they do not show any signs. There ain't no fucking scars or anything.
exactly. It was
It really,
basically
it to me, the Firefly family died in the car together with their dad, with Spalding, Baby, and Otis. That's
mhm,
all. That's in them. This should have never been made,
that's what I'm
honestly.
saying. But given for what it is, there is some fun factor that I still kind of liked with the movie because I will say this was to me this was at least way more of a fucking more watchable for me than fucking Lords of Salem.
I
That's
will
for
give you that because Lords of Salem was a fucking colossal mess. I'll give you that.
yeah.
But this to me is still down there with his lower end of his films.
Well, and to an extent, I kind of liked it a little bit more than 31 because there were some parts with 31 that I felt it was a little bit kind of boring at times, but it was on the same kind of level with this one.
Well, another thing, now that you bring it up, another issue I do have with this film is while I do get what they were trying to do with the whole build up of them escaping, I do after a while felt like it was kind of getting boring.
Yeah, because they kept
Just
doing a
certain
lot of,
parts of the film I was kind of getting bored with because really it's nothing more than them breaking out and partying. It's like,
yeah,
and then like it's almost like they're trying to build a world where they're good, and I didn't care for that either. That's not what they're supposed to be, but yeah.
I got you. But
But
overall, though,
yeah,
I mean, given for what it is, it definitely shows that. I mean, I'll still, if I ever own it someday as part of the other films, I'll probably own it just to collect it and watch it as basically. I look at it like this, like an alternative what if kind of movie that would have happened. I still consider Devil's Rejects the closure, but it is still kind of fun to see what would happen if you look at it on that level.
yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel. But overall, um, I'm gonna I'm gonna give the movie kind of pretty much just a average Joe on the Film Freaks meter.
I was thinking one grade, but I'm gonna change it a little bit. So I'm gonna be nice here, and I'm doing this because the characters are still from what we're given is still good, and you know rest in peace, Captain Spaulding. You're missed terribly in this franchise. So I'm gonna give this film a very very extremely low average Joe rating on Film Freaks meter.
Fair enough. And rest in peace, Sid Haig. And for those of you who have also seen Three from Hell and also the other movies in the Firefly, House Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, let us know in the comments below what you thought about them. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel and check out some other views here and our website at filmfreaks.com. We'll be seeing you in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.